What's up everyone, welcome back to another exciting Art of War video. We are here to cover even more amazing 10th edition content from Games Workshop. Today, GW has put an article on Warhammer Community telling us what is coming for Legions and Legends in Warhammer 40k, and how the Horus heresy models that you would previously find in Imperial Armor are going to interact with the main game. This is going to come as a little bit of a surprise to some people, and definitely a bit of a surprise to me. So, GW has put out an article, basically again telling us what is going to happen to all the Forge World Space Marine models, and it's not looking good if you are if you're an enjoyer, a collector of the finer Space Marine models from the Horus Heresy range. This is kind of a big surprise for me. So, let's dive right into this article. Real quick, we do have some questions in the chat. Are we going to do a faction-focused tier list? Yes, we are going to do that. We bumped back a little bit later in the week because GW kept putting out faction-focused articles, but we are still going to do that very soon. We'll have that event up as soon as we're confident GW is done with articles, and then we'll pick a date to do it on. So we're still going to do that tier list. Worry not. We know that a lot of you are very excited for it. So, let's dive right in. So, GW is hitting us up with all of these different awesome, beautiful, beautiful models from Forge World and from the new plastic line for the Horus Heresy. And yeah, so basically they're just saying all these units will return as Legends of the Horus Heresy, which are leaving the competitive tournament battlefields. Ouch. So all of the Forge World models, the Imperial Armor models that now have some plastic Horus Heresy kits, right after they go plastic, they're gone. They're just removed from the game. So, in new 40k, you can use them in narrative games, in match play games at home in stores, but not in like a tournament setting, which means that realistically you're probably not using these in a match play game of any kind. Now, of course, if you have the models and you like them and you're just looking to play a game of 40k, have some fun, feel free to ask your opponent, like, hey, do you mind if I use a bit of a legend roll? And, put down your beloved Leviathan Dreadnought. I would love to get my absolutely beloved Leviathan Dreadnought on the table once again, but it looks like he is never going to a tournament again, and that is a sad day. I mean, I'm a really big fan of a lot of the Forge World and the new plastic Horus Heresy models and how they look in a Space Marine army, and the fact that they're all gone, really disappointing. Honestly, I've liked a lot of the things that they've shown with the new 40k, and this seems like it's a bit of a miss. Yeah, Short Yeti with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Yes, the plastic multi-pose contemptor kit that replaced the plastic monopose kit that's currently in multiple codexes and on GW's web store and not Forge World. Yeah, the fact that you can finally, history lesson here. These heresy models have been part of 40k for, honestly, I've got to say it's got to be like at least 8 to 10 years almost at this point. Probably like 5 to 8. And you could just get the models from Forge World only, but they had rules. And that makes it really hard to acquire, but you could use them in 40k. And they finally are very easy to use in 40k, to acquire, because they're finally plastic kits. They're in store. You could go to a local game store and say, hey, I'll buy this Leviathan Dreadnought. Let me buy this Demos Pattern Predator. And they're gone. You can finally buy the models easily, and now you can't use them. So GW, let's finish out the article here. They do give us a profile for the Kratos. I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to dive deep into it because it's not available for matched play. And that's just really disappointing for me because and obviously many people enjoy many different types of play, but I personally enjoy match play the most. It's what I play the most by far. So not having access to this is pretty disappointing. So the reason that they're doing it, so they say, is that Space Marines already have a lot of options. And it's a little easier to balance if you don't have this many units to choose from. Honestly, I really, really wish that they had gotten rid of, the old Predator or the old Vindicator. Models that have not changed a cent since I started the game 15 years ago. 15 years ago, fresh-faced Baby John is playing Warhammer, and the Predator, the Vindicator, the Land Raider, those are already old kits. Those aren't new sprues. The Predator was an old kit 15 years ago. And there is a new Predator that just came out last year. And I would really prefer to use that one to the old one that was old 15 years ago. I don't even know when it came out. All I know is that in 2008, when I started playing, it was an old kit. Now, they are specifically saying that it's all the Horus heresy models. So the Astreus may be safe. That's a Forge World unit that isn't 30k at all. So that one might live, but they don't tell us it does. So I would hold off on buying it until we see some more rules or an indication that it can be used in match play, if you care about that. Yeah, big thing here. This also obviously will take the same options away from Chaos Space Marines that it took away from Space Marines, as you would expect. Yeah, just wild here. So some of the things that they do say is like, oh, you know, there won't be specific rules, but feel free to use the appropriate 40k data sheet to represent these units. So honestly, you could probably say I want to run a Predator and buy the new 30k Predator and just put the Lascan or the Autocan options on it and say, okay, I'm just going to run a Predator, but it's a fancier kit. Or this example is just, hey, let's just run a new Land Raider kit to represent the old Land Raider data sheet and just call it the same. If they're roughly the same size, that shouldn't be a problem. But honestly, they're not always the same size, and that could get a little bit hairy. But yeah, I'm sure most tournaments are going to let you do a bit of a count as, if appropriate and appropriately sized. That's going to be a pretty big deal. So there's some people commenting on some of the Chaos units being gone. I don't see any indication that things like the Brass Scorpion or Decimators are gone. But if it's in the article and I just haven't read it yet, I will try to find it. So yeah, again, to me, this is a bit of a miss. It's like GW had these things available for so long. Why stop now that there's a plastic kit? I don't know. Obviously I'm a lot less likely to buy these models now, whereas before those are sweet models that I was looking to buy. Honestly, I have a Leviathan, and I was still thinking about buying a plastic one soon, and I am very, very glad that I didn't. So again, I'm just disappointed here. I think that this is a miss, and GW has given us a lot of hits for 10th edition, and I think we're still very easily in the net positive, but I am going to miss having all those old Dreadnoughts. Me personally, I own, I think, 8 Contemptors across different Space Marine chapters. I've got like 3 for my Ultramarine Successors. I've got 3 for my Death Watch. I've got 2 Chaos ones just because I liked the models. And then I've got all the Forge World Custodes ones as well, although that apparently is going to be a different case. So let's take a quick look at those. And so for these exceptions to the test of time, interesting, it looks like Loyal Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights are keeping their Forge World options. So let's see, these models will continue to receive support for 140k and a downloadable Imperial Armor Index. Perfectly reasonable, that's fine. I'm very glad. I feel for Space Marine players, I'm not particularly thrilled with that this revelation, but I am genuinely glad that Knights are keeping their Forge World options, because both Knights and Chaos Knights are very low datasheet armies. Space Marines have enough datasheets. I'll acknowledge that part of the reasoning is sound, if unfortunate, but Knights don't have enough datasheets to justify trimming all of these models. So I'm very happy to hear that at least those are staying, but also it makes me a little nervous about the future. With that said, the fact that there's a plastic Lancer coming out soon, they've already talked about it, but they haven't announced a date yet. That makes me very, very excited. Although it does also make me want to wait to buy any Forge World Knights in hopes that they come out in plastic. But that Lancer, I think I'm willing to buy that Lancer as soon as that comes out in plastic. More exceptions. They do, in fact, give us some hints that the Adeptus Custodes are also keeping their Forge World units. Again, Custodes and Knights, both very low datasheet codexes that have an extensive Forge World collection that almost doubles the amount of datasheets they have access to. This is a good thing. I know the Forge World Custodes units are sometimes a mixed bag as far as how useful they are. Some are too useful, some are worthless. I am very glad that they're keeping the option, just so that each of these codexes has more datasheets to draw from. Yeah, so they are now, here we go. So now they're giving us Legends of the Horus Heresy units, used in match play, narrative, not competitive events. Leviathan, Contemptor, and Radio. Again, I just want to look at this. Look at this poor Leviathan Dreadnought that Games Workshop has brutally murdered. This is the Breviathan. I took this to a top 8 at LVO a couple years back, and this poor boy is probably never going to play another game of 40k. That breaks my heart. I really wish They would just, let people play with their toys. Doesn't need to be good, just let people play with their toys. So, Leviathan Contemptor Radio, gone for match play. Kratos, Sakaran, Spartan, Cerberus, Typhon. The Sakaran, that stings, but also it makes me glad I never bought them. Because the Sakaran Battle Tank is one of the coolest models they've made, and I was seriously looking at buying some, because I just love that model, and I was like, oh, let me just wait for 10th, see how their rules are. And here we go. We're losing some of the variants of the Land Raider, the Vindicator, and the Whirlwind. A lot of the planes gone. The Fire Raptor, that's another model that I really wish I could play with, but gone. The support weapons, a lot of the super heavies, all the drop pods, the javelins, just painful. Adamek is losing their 2 Sekutara units and the Terex pattern termites. Termites is interesting. Again, Adamek has a middling amount of data sheets, but interesting that the Terex is gone, and especially. It's weird to me that the plastic kits are getting axed. I know that they announced an article previously that some Forge World only units are going to get replaced. They already announced that the Tyranid D. McCarran is gone. That makes me very sad. Hopefully they do a plastic kit of him sometime because I love that model. But again, the plastic models here are the ones that I'm like, really? You wanted those gone? Like, come on. Like, surely if it's a plastic kit, like, I could use it, right? Nope. And here we go. Chaos Space Marines. Oh, I'm so sorry. Decimators. I have 3 of those that I bought from Forge World a couple months ago for Vashdor. Greater Blight Drones, Blood Slaughters, Greater Brass Scorpions, Ravagers, Charybdis Assault Claw, Dreadclaw Drop Pod. All gone. Dreadclaw Drop Pod. Very, very sad. And then the Imperial Army units that are also in Horus Heresy. Adeptus Custodes, Imperial Knights. There's no mention here, and this is just an interesting omission. There's no mention here of Astra Militarum at all. And other than Space Marines, Astra Militarum has by far the largest quantity of units, but they're all theoretically current timeline units. So I'm very curious to see if they trim that model range as well. Because if I'm being honest, and look, I'm an Astra Militarum player, and I'll still say this, the Guard Forge World range is a little bit bloated. There's at least currently, we don't know what it's going to be. It feels like currently there's 7 different ways to take a not Leman Russ that is like a Leman Russ with it's like, oh, for 50 extra points, it's a Leman Russ with plus 5 wounds in the same gun. It's like, okay. And then there's 7 of those. And then there's, oh, for 100 points less than a Baneblade, it's like a Baneblade with half the guns and a couple less wounds. It's like, okay. The Guard Forge World line in my mind really lacks a lot of identity. Sweet sculpts, but they could pare that down if anything. Especially because it doesn't have plastic models. Again, I would rather they cut a lot of the Forge World only models that are hard to access off of Guard and keep the plastic kits. Just if I can buy it in plastic, I feel like I should be able to play it in 40k. That's kind of where I'm at with this. So yeah, that's where we're at. So all the Imperial Army units for Custodes and Knights are both Heresy and they're both Heresy and 40k for now. So we'll see how long that lasts. No real news on Xenos in this article, because this is in fact the end of the article. Now they did have that previous article about some old units that were going to Legends. Weird that they did this kind of in 2 different articles. They did an article like a week or 2 ago where they announced that D. McCarran was gone and the Malanthrope is gone, and some other units for other various Xenos factions. And I noticed the Tyranid ones, honestly. But it's weird that they're now doing 2 different articles about old Forge World units going to Legends, aka don't buy them anymore. Wish they'd done it all at once, because honestly, after they announced the first wave, I kind of assumed everything else was safe to buy. Luckily, I didn't actually buy anything, but I've had a Leviathan Dreadnought in my cart, and I'm just gonna go hit that red X button and just never see it again. So, alright, that is kind of where we're at. So, again, a little disappointed here. They really axed a lot of models for Space Marines. Space Marines were bloated, but I would rather they have at least keep the plastic models. Some of the resin ones, like the Rapier Battery, probably could go, and it would be alright. But the plastic kits that you can buy in a Games Workshop store, that's disappointing to me. I really wish I could keep getting those models on the tabletop. Still, at least if you just enjoy playing 40k and you want to get these models on the table, at least they are going to have rules, so no doubt you can play them in some just, you know, fun games with friends at local game stores, etc., I'm sure no one's going to have a problem with you saying, hey, I really like the Contemptor Dreadnought, and I painted mine up pretty. Do you mind if I use it in this game? No problem at all, but out of tournaments. That is a bit disappointing. All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up for this video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you would like this video, please like this video and make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you're going to get notified every single time we go live with a new 10th edition article. There's more 10th edition articles coming every day, which means we're putting out videos every single day. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.